So as you can tell, I'm the Latin School representative. Hi, I'm Bobby Ullman, Computer Science Department Chair here, as well as Upper School Computer Science teacher. Welcome to Latin School. We're super excited to have you all here. We're really excited about P33 and the ways in which we've been connecting in just a couple months' time. I want to thank Mark with CS for Illinois for making that connection happen. But again, one of the things we do here at Latin School, we are pre-K to 12 school, so about 1,100 students, and in the last week, we've got about 400-ish students in the upper school, and so that's the 9th through 12th grade. And P33 came on site here to basically give a pitch workshop to those students. And so those students in the upper school learning what it takes to stand up here, present a problem, present a solution, and articulate that. So again, super excited, glad that you're here. Just a couple logistics. If you exit the theater and go to the left, that's where the bathrooms are, as well as some drinking fountains. There's still going to be the food out there, and then there's garbage cans out there, etc. If you need anything else, today is my daughter's 13th birthday. So I need to be a good dad and exit out of here. And also to be a good husband and not get yelled at. So I'm going to be exiting here. But if you need any help, we've got some students in the back. Ask them for any logistics. Our upper school director, Nick Bayer, is here. He's going to close things down. But again, thank you. I'm going to pass it out to P33 and to Fair. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Well, good evening. We appreciate everyone being here on a Friday evening of everything. I'm Tafir Hamed, the Chief Growth Officer for P33, and I welcome you to this TechRise EdTech pitch competition here at Latin School of Chicago. It's incredibly inspiring to be surrounded by people who care deeply about the future of learning and innovation in our city, from our educators to our students to founders and investors. And tonight is a celebration of what happens when creativity, knowledge, and education come together. And we're here to highlight founders who are reimagining how students learn, how teachers teach, and how communities connect through new ideas and tools. And at P33, our mission is to really drive inclusive growth through innovation. So we're ensuring Chicago is a global leader in technology and innovation. And TechRise is one of the key ways in which we bring that vision to life by building pathways for early stage founders to access capital, networks, and knowledge so they can grow right here in our city. And for anyone who's new to TechRise, it's a program launched by our team at P33 to make sure early stage founders across Chicagoland have access to capital, networks, and visibility. And they need to grow their businesses here, providing catalytic capital at the friends and family stage. And since launching in 2021, TechRise has supported more than 400 founders, and they've gone on to raise follow-on funding of over $180 million. And that equates to over 1,000 jobs across the region. So we couldn't be more proud to be here tonight with the EdTech Institute of Chicago, Latin School of Chicago. Again, two institutions deeply committed to advancing learning, innovation, and access to education. And we believe that the next generation of innovation starts in rooms like this. Where's my JoJo? I have my 9-year-old here today. I wanted him to see what mom does for a living on a Friday night of all things, but I had to tear him away from his game to be here, but hopefully he will be inspired by these amazing founders tonight, because we believe, again, the next generation of innovation starts in rooms like this, where founders share bold ideas, students ask thoughtful questions, and communities come together to imagine what's next. So as you hear pitches tonight, let's all think of ways we can support the founders, whether it's an introduction to an investor or a potential client, or simply learning about other startups and following them on their social media. Every bit counts. Thank you all again for being a part of this amazing vision tonight. And now to guide us through this exciting evening of pitches and inspiration, please help me welcome our MC tonight, Raj, founder of Start Right Now.
Let's go.
Yep. Good. Do we need the mic, or are we good without it?
Up to you.
Well, this is being recorded, right? So probably for the sake of the
Yeah,
recording.
let's do it,
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Welcome to TechRise EdTech Edition. This is what we call Friday night funding. Tonight's EdTech edition of TechRise is brought to you in partnership with the EdTech Institute of Chicago and supported by the good people at PNC Bank. Tonight, we have 5 startups that are all going to take the stage to show you what the future of education looks like in this country and around the world. These 5 founders, these 5 startups have been working tirelessly to take this stage here tonight, and they are ready to show you everything that they've got. They are vying for $25,000 in non-dilutive funding. That's a $25K bag. And in this process, the way it breaks down is they will each have 4 minutes to pitch, followed by a 4-minute judges Q&A. Do we want to know who our judges are? Yeah. Sweet. All right, first up, he is, let me make sure I get all of this right. He is a former teacher. He is a current CPS parent. He has spent his career at the intersection of finance and education. He has founded a school. He has launched initiatives improving math learning for over 40,000 students. And he has served as an appointed member of the Chicago Board of Education. He is Sandal Revelry! And joining him on the judges' table, he is a computer programmer and entrepreneur out of the University of Illinois. He spent the past decade running TextLine, a business text messaging startup. He now serves as a board member at the drone maker Nightingale Security. He is Alan Brinkman! Joining him on the judges' table, she is an educator, she is a coach, she is a program director who has spent a decade designing transformative learning experiences. She is the entrepreneurship program director at the Gray Matter Experience. She is Corinne Durant! Wait. And finally, joining all of them on the judges' table, he represents the Latin School of Chicago! He is a student, a senior. He is interested in AI, science, EdTech, computer science. He is the future of this country. He is Terry Lambert! Are we ready to see some pitches? I said, are we ready to see some pitches? The following is a pitch contest where only one company can win. Introducing first, please welcome to the TechRise stage, Devin Tyler! Nope, I have that wrong. We will try that again. Please welcome Philip Montgomery!
Cool. Imagine your child comes home from school. You tell them, go get your homework done. And then you check on them 6 hours later. But instead of, doing their homework, they're watching top 5 astronaut games on Roblox. Now, you as a parent might be horrified. My mother, Geni's first user, surely was when she saw my sister doing exactly that. You see, my sister, she loves astronauts. In fact, she wants to be an astronaut when she grows up. Or she wants to be one of those mermaid actors at Disney World, the ones in the tank. She hasn't figured that one out yet. But like 50% of students in the United States, my sister doesn't do her homework. She's classified as completely disengaged in the classroom. That means, like 2/3 of students, she does not do math at grade level. Now, schools are spending a lot of money and a lot of time trying to solve this problem. In fact, they're spending thousands of dollars every single year. In addition, teachers are burnt out trying to make assignments engaging for each kid in the classroom. But look at what they have to work with. This is boring. What kid would want to do a superstar worksheet? Do they feel like a superstar after finishing it? Probably not. That's where Geni comes in. Geni makes stuff that kids generally find boring, like the math assignments they have to do, engaging by personalizing it to their interest. Say a kid types in astronauts. We create the perfect astronaut-themed assignment. Say they typed in mermaids. We create the fully interactive AI-generated assignment with images, text, sounds, and other interactive components. Now, how does this work on a more micro level? First, a teacher selects a common core topic that she wants the students to practice. Then, a student types in whatever they like. It can be mermaids, could be astronauts, could be Little Mermaid astronauts on the moon with Skibbity Toilet and all these other things. And it will generate the exact assignment with interactive starfish questions, a mermaid planet background, and a real live astronaut mermaid that walks the child through the assignment. Now, it's been fantastic so far. One teacher said that she was able to cover weeks worth of lessons in a single class period because the kids were actually engaged. And now, over the past summer, we've gotten 12 schools to purchase our product and generate over $10,000 in annual recurring revenue. Now, why don't these schools just actually purchase one of our competitors? Well, they're boring. They look like the same old worksheets that kids have been doing since Abraham Lincoln was president. Some of them are just online. In fact, we're the only one who makes it fully personalized for each individual kid in the classroom. Now, we are in a massive market of $5.2 billion for just United States grade school math supplements, and we have a great plan to tackle this market. We're starting with 3 dioceses. Our 12 school pilots are strategically located in these 3 dioceses. We've already talked with the superintendents from these dioceses. They already have Title I money for a math supplement, and they're interested in potentially making us that math supplement. We just need our pilots in those dioceses to go successful, and that will generate $1 million of potential ARR. We're also working with 9 additional school districts who we've already met the principals in many of these districts, and that can potentially generate $2 million in ARR as well. Now, we need the money primarily for 2 reasons. Legal compliance. All our current schools want SOPA, COPA, and FERPA compliance, which requires a privacy policy and a student policy. ChatGPT goes a long way, but I prefer a lawyer to write that for me. In addition, we don't have a car. There's no way for us to get to our customers. I have to borrow my friend's car every time I visit our schools. So the additional money will allow us to visit our current schools and make sure our pilots are as successful as possible. My name is Philip. I previously was a software engineer on the Illinois Microreactor project, and I student taught for a semester, and my co-founder is an education researcher. We're also joined with over 20 years of experience in education research, bringing products to market in education, and a school board member. So if you want the future of personalized education, Geni is that. I'd be happy to answer questions.
First of all, great pitch. It sounds really interesting. An astronaut mermaid was not what I thought I would see today, so very cool.
My sister loved it, when she started using it. So.
That's awesome. I am wondering, with your platform, as they're going through these activities, are you measuring how they're performing within these activities, or is the customization also inclusive of kind of pushing them along in terms of their comprehension levels? What's that feedback cycle like with the teachers?
We do exactly that. We track their progress over time across various different skills. In addition, we sync one-to-one with the MAP score program. You see, one of the most commonly taken standardized tests in the United States is the MAP test, administered by NWEA. I personally talked, and we're working on a partnership right now with NWEA to become a one-to-one content partner with them. But right now, the teachers type in the MAP scores for the kids, and we can track and kind of put them on a trajectory so they can do better on their MAP scores the next time they take the MAP test.
Thank you. It's super interesting. You mentioned that teachers are optimistic. I'm wondering how students feel about it, and specifically, how do students interact with one another when they're using Geni?
Well, there's a variety. Well, students love it, first of all. When they type in their interest and it creates the fully personalized assignment with interactive components whenever they type in. Like, kids type in really specific stuff. I've seen inside of our terminal, kids type in like green dragons on the moon with Mars and this, like all this stuff, and it creates it. So they absolutely love it. And kids love sharing their assignments with other kids. Something you can do is kids can type the share button and share with other people in their class so that they can see the assignments they've generated. And they're doing more math then. Like the kids are like, come see my Sonic-themed assignment. And then the kids will actually go like, wow, I'm doing Sonic-themed math problems. So that's the main way that kids interact with the platform in that way.
You know, my kid's got his own iPad and a school iPad. Which iPad does your app go on?
So we work both with Chromebooks, and within the next week, we will have an app on the App Store because one of our customers wanted it. They use primarily iPads. And so we've gotten approval to have an Apple app, so it's going to be on the App Store next week. So yeah.
Are the parents involved, or does the teacher set it up for the student?
So right now, we primarily work inside the classroom. We do have a long wait list for parent version. We have about 200 people on our wait list right now for the parent version of the app. That will generate a bunch of revenue when that goes through. Mainly, we're just working on making the curriculum better and more complete in terms of because teachers know exactly what Common Core skill they want to assign. Parents don't know as well, so we're developing that out right now. And when the parent version goes live, that will be a nice additional revenue source.
Okay, let me pass the mic on. If there's time, I'll ask another question.
I'm curious if this feature uses AI, how you prevent hallucinations.
Oh man, I could talk about that for an hour. So my main body of research before I came into this was using AI with micronuclear reactors. So we developed a bunch of different methods for what we call validation checks, which is both using AI to validate AI, but also using a bunch of simple algorithms that are able to validate it. Our accuracy we project is about 99.9%. We have almost zero hallucination. We haven't gotten any complaints of hallucination from any of our customers. If they have any complaints, it's usually that the kids spend too much time just looking at the images and sometimes not enough time doing the math. But that's probably the only complaint we get. We don't get any hallucination complaints.
All right, we'll cut it there. Thank you. Thank you. One more time, Geni. I'll get the name right this time. So, okay, moving along. Next up to take the TechRise stage, he represents the audacity behind the company Tenacity. Here's Devin.
Okay, so I have a sister who just graduated college at Howard, and she did a great job there, but now she's faced with her biggest challenge yet, finding a job. And the unemployment rate for undergrad or entry-level roles is at 8%. And 83% of students wish that they had more college experience before they graduated. Now, this is happening while the gig economy is rapidly growing. It's a $191 billion market, up 48% since the pandemic. And I actually contributed to its growth because Tenacity's first idea required us to hire freelancers. And these freelancers helped us build our product. But unfortunately, they cared more about the money than they did about our experience and the quality of the deliverable. And so this made me wonder, well, how do we solve for that issue? Where on the one side you have students who are talented and need to find opportunities. And then you have others like startup founders and entrepreneurs who have an idea and need passionate people to help build it. And that's where Tenacity has pivoted to become a marketplace that connects college students to project work at startups and companies. So here's how it works. Nick, who is the founder, has built an amazing product, and now he needs help with his marketing. He creates an account and describes what he's looking for on the account. Our platform generates a statement of work with clear deliverables. From there comes Victoria, a marketing student and a TikTok whiz. She's been pre-vetted, and so she's on the platform and sees the opportunity and applies. Now this is where you would think that Tenacity is done, right? But no, we go a step further because once she's applied, once the project is activated, it moves into a project management environment where they can create the project plan from the statement of work. They can also monitor progress. They can keep up to date with the schedules, with the calendars, with everything that's happening. They can manage all of it in one ecosystem, making it easy for Nick to keep up with what's going on in his company, as well as giving Victoria the resources and the skills that she needs to put her best foot forward. And they are making phenomenal traction. Nick's content is going viral on TikTok, and Victoria has made thousands of dollars. But they're not the only ones that have seen some benefit with Tenacity. We ran a 4-month beta, and the results were 10,000 in projects, which resulted in $2,000 in revenue. And our business model is pretty simple. We charge companies a small project fee, and for students, we retain a portion of their earnings. Now, we're not the only ones in this space, but we are the ones that are going the furthest because we are bullish about the talent experience, the skills that they need, and then also the quality of the deliverables. This is what powers our go-to-market strategy, where students, we want them to understand that Tenacity is the content creator platform for business, where they can build and grow their skills and their career all on one platform before they even graduate. And for companies, we want them to know that we're leading with relentless hospitality, that we care about what they want and what they need to grow their business to scale. With the $25,000, it will help us grow and continue to expand our marketing and research efforts to hit our 6-month goals, which is to scale to 100 projects a month, to expand to $2,500 projects on average, and to hit 60K in MRR. And we're doing this rapidly with increased clients and students week over week. So I am Devin. I have the experience of being both a broke college student with skill and a broke founder with an idea, but I'm building Tenacity. Thank you. Any questions?
So did you take the sign-ups down after the pilot?
No. So we actually transitioned those who were doing the pilot onto the platform. So what was cool is that we ran the pilot without the platform. And so I was the Wizard of Oz behind the scenes where we had a landing page, people would fill out a form, students would apply on the landing page, and behind the scenes, I had Excel sheets, I had emails, I did it all until we built the platform. We recently launched the platform, and 60% of the pilots that were on the platform converted to monthly reoccurring projects. And so we've transitioned a lot of our clients on there now. They love it. It saves me a lot of time, a lot of effort, because a lot of this is automated.
First of all, great job. It's really interesting learning about this. I'm wondering, can you talk us through the process? So how are you vetting people, and then at the end, how are you doing this quality check to make sure that there's, really great caliber?
Great question. So students are pre-vetted before they can even get onto the platform. It has a 3-step process where, one, they submit an application. From there, we have an interview, which is focused on can they work in environments where it is a little bit more fast-paced, because currently our clients are geared towards startups and small businesses, and so we test to make sure they have that skill for that environment. And then from there, they have a skill assessment, where we mock and mimic what a typical project would look like in their category. So for example, if someone wants to be a tech student on a platform, we give them a proof of concept example to see if they can do that. Once they pass those parameters, we also ask them to list their skills so that when they are looking for projects, they can see which skills are required per project and see if those match to their skills, and the companies can also see that. Once the students are on the platform, we're building automations to check in weekly with the founders, weekly with the students to see where are you in the process, how does it relate to the deadlines and the deliverables, what support do you need, and then we also have partners outside of the platform to be resources to the students. So for example, if a student gets stuck with a particular task, they can go reach out to one of our resources and say, hey, I need help, how do I coach myself through? And then we'll also have a lot of AI tools to just kind of support them as they go. And above all, we're building a team behind the scenes to make sure that each student still feels supported with the human touch.
Thanks, Devin. You described how having a project is helpful for the student in terms of building their portfolio and being able to demonstrate that maybe on the job market. What are students learning from working with actual business owners and participating in these projects?
Yeah, so that's a great question. What they're learning overall is that they're really thinking about the quality of the experience, where they're taking the feedback of, hey, you have the skills, but how are you communicating? Like, how are you actually talking to me and convincing me that you have the right idea, or this is the right pivot, or this is the right approach per project? So it's the soft skills that are ironically being elevated, where students are learning how to communicate their ideas via email, how to actually persuade and collaborate with founders, otherwise that they wouldn't be able to do. The other component is that they're working on actual work, where typically interns do basic stuff. These founders really need students to help them think about what's our TikTok strategy, or what is our proof of concept on our landing page, and how do I communicate that effectively? And so they're learning these skills and coupling it with those soft skills that are also important.
What kind of gigs do you hope to expand this to?
Great question. So currently we're doing marketing, tech, and sales, but we want to expand it to those needs that match what companies are looking for and what students are studying. And so we're working with colleges now to understand what is your curriculum currently, and how does that expand and align to what's in the market. And so as we expand, we hope to expand those categories along with the resources. Thank you.
One more time, Devin, Tyler. Moving along, up next on the TechRise stage, they represent Bloom Academy. Morgan, Payne, and Myesha Cox.
Like many parents, I just wanted to better understand her, to connect, communicate, and help her grow. But when I looked for resources, everything felt too formal or disconnected from real families like mine experience. Then I reconnected with my old high school classmate, Myesha. We met up for coffee, and like most great ideas, it started over lattes. We started talking about family, community, and how much potential there was to create something that made learning and connection feel human. Over that one conversation, ideas started flowing, and we started to bloom.
Working as a clinical director at a large ABA center, I see this problem all the time. Families needed things that were practical, accessible, and community-centered. Professionals had the expertise, but translating that into something that families could use on an everyday basis was often a struggle. Her lived experience and my perspective as a clinical director could combine and create something really meaningful. So, we decided to create a space that could meet both of those ideas naturally. We started small, bringing together parents for social groups and learning moments and support. That started conversations. We had conversations over coffee, and that turned into workshops and social groups. That created real connections for families. From those community roots became Bloom Academy, a structured way to share that same warmth with understanding and tools to families that they were already responding to. So let me take a moment to introduce our team. My name is Myesha Cox. I am a board-certified behavior analyst and a certified autism specialist. This is Morgan. She has nonprofit experience for many years. This is Chris. He has helped us develop our website and our curriculum, and taking the one-on-one experiences that I have with my parents and the training that I do every day with the therapists that I work with, and made it all translatable to our learning modules.
Since launching, our workshops and early pilots have reached dozens of families. Parents report higher confidence, stronger communication, and deeper connection at home. Through our library partnership, Bloom is reaching families who might not otherwise have this access to this kind of support. Bloom grows through partnerships. Libraries, nonprofits, ABA providing scalable programs and professional training so children, families, and autism professionals can get support when it matters the most. With federal and state budgets for special needs resources being cut, millions of children are losing access to essential therapy and educational support. Now more than ever, nonprofit solutions like Bloom Academy are critical to fill that gap, provide accessible programs, and ensure no child is left behind. Bloom stands out with hands-on, real-skill video training led by licensed ABA professionals. Unlike generic lecture-based programs, our content is interactive, practical, and built for real-world applications. We've both seen how limited resources can lead to high burnout and high turnover amongst autism professionals. Bloom Academy changes that by making training accessible, supporting professionals, and improving outcomes for families. Together, we started something that continues to grow. One family, one community, one Bloom at a time.
Can you say a little bit more about the traction with the number of families that you have? What's their experience like so far?
Yeah, so we started in June with our social group. So we had the first social group, we had like a nature-based programming, and we had about 10 kiddos there. And then we developed and we kind of grew, and the sessions, we had them every Saturday. So it kind of fluctuated with the numbers, but we always had a minimum of about 3 to 5 kids, including my daughter. So she would come and kind of join us, and we would go through the different ABA skills with Myesha. And then we had another session, which was soccer stars. So we did soccer and kind of implemented ABA programs within that. So we had about close to about 7 to 10 kids there. So we're averaging close to about 10 to 15 kids. However, but with the Chicago Public Library partnership, they're helping us with marketing, they're helping us get the word out, they're helping us kind of house our programs there. So we have, our numbers have been growing every week, honestly.
This sounds like a wonderful resource, so thank you for sharing. I'm wondering how you're measuring impact with this. So you say you've had a few families and young people involved. How do you know this is working?
Yeah, so after our session, so parents come and they let us know how they feel. I do parent training for my, as a board certified behavior. We're qualified, we have to do training every week for parents. So per family, I'm doing about 25 to 30 parent trainings a month. And so they feel more confident after the training. They feel like they have the tools to do things on their own at home. They feel that they feel like they have some type of sense of control in their life. So they really keep showing up because they feel like this is working. They feel confident in what they're doing.
And personally, as a mother with a kid on the spectrum, I struggle to find kind of inclusive spaces for my daughter. So bringing her, I can personally say without any bias, honestly, that it's been working personally for me just to learn how to communicate better with her and to kind of play with her. That's kind of what ABA is play therapy, essentially. And it allows my daughter and I to learn how to play, but also implement those skills. So personally, I know it's working.
Thank you. And so the way I understand it, the families are the main users of the learning. Do you see that expanding to others who interact with kids as well, and who might those be?
Yeah, so we are planning, we saw a gap with Chicago Public Libraries. That's what made us go after that partnership because there was no inclusive programming. I actually went up to my neighborhood Chicago Public Libraries and I inquired about it. And I asked them further, do they have training? So I did my research and saw that they don't have official training and official training modules to be able to train on these type of programs. So we saw the gap and filled it. And then Myesha, with her being the clinical director as well, they actually don't, where she is a large ABA facility. That's what we got, the 5 ABA facilities, and they don't have an official training. So the modules are actually created by Myesha because she was training other registered behavioral techs. So we're using all of her material.
They are also used for the actual techs who work one-on-one with therapy, for parents, for like staff at the library or staff at local stores. We hope to get it to, and hopefully we continue to spread across the nation.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Sorry, we both hit that. All right. How are we feeling, everybody? Yeah. All right. We've got 2 more to go. Next up on the TechRise stage, they make all the girls say, boys say, hey Bodhi, hey Bodhi, hey. Give it up for Sam, Gleisten, and Neesha, Nanda!
Sorry. There we go. Oh, okay, great. 7 years ago, after 15 years of teaching, I'm sobbing on the staff bathroom floor, drowning in my students' trauma. I couldn't take it anymore, I broke, and I quit teaching.
Sam's story is not unique. 92% of educators suffer from secondary trauma. That's the kind of trauma where you see something, but you can't do anything about it. And 44% of educators quit within the first 5 years of joining the profession. They don't quit because they don't care anymore. They quit because they care too much and they're stuck in a system that just can't support them.
When teachers burn out, it doesn't just hurt them. It ripples into student learning, emotional development, and the culture of the school. I found my way back to teaching, but most teachers don't. Research shows that teachers who receive consistent mentorship are twice as likely to stay in the profession.
That's why we built Payne. I'm Myesha, Nanda, a social worker turned EdTech entrepreneur. I sold my last company to Samsung. And this is Sam Gleisten, an award-winning Chicago teacher. And together, we built the first emotionally intelligent, yes, AI-backed mentor for teachers to help really reduce the friction that they face and give them the support that they need.
Hey Bodhi meets teachers in the moment and makes personalized support available anytime, anywhere. So a teacher can type in, hey, I'm having a really rough time connecting with a student, and Hey Bodhi will offer micro practices, personal supports, resources, and tools to help the teacher connect and then move forward and move on.
Beneath the chat experience is a living library of hundreds of teacher-tested guides and resources that help educators carry the heavy emotional weight of teaching. And soon, we will bridge the AI with human mentorship, creating a marketplace where teachers can connect to additional support when they need it the most.
The market is massive, with 4 million teachers in the US and 94 million worldwide, most of them women, representing a $5 billion opportunity focused on empowering those who help shape and educate our futures.
Our model is simple and scalable. It's $10 a month per teacher who signs up individually, or $6 a month per teacher that signs up through a district or a school. Connecting teachers to human mentors adds an additional revenue stream. And when we expand to support school leaders and administrators, we will extend our reach even further.
While other tools really target general consumers, Hey Bodhi addresses the teacher retention crisis at its core, the confidence and emotional support gap that's really driving teachers out of the classroom.
Unlike wellness apps or generic chatbots, Hey Bodhi is built for educators. Everywhere, this is probably why, everywhere that we present Hey Bodhi to teachers, teachers ask us one question: when can we sign up? That is real market validation, and it's happening before we've spent even $1 in
month with 400 teachers. By year end, we'll measure impact and move to seed funding. Then by year 3, we'll serve 50,000 teachers, reach 6.7 million in revenue, and support 5 million students. We're not just scaling a business. We're helping save the profession that helps shape all the others.
So our team is pretty seasoned. Together we bring decades of classroom experience, AI technical knowledge, and award-winning product design to the table.
$25,000 would help us get Hey Bodhi in the hands of more teachers to be able to use it safely to support and validate retention.
If you're sitting in this room,
We will have to cut it there. So sorry.
Okay.
Great job.
Can you elaborate on your plans to bridge the AI with human support?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we want to make sure is that it's used as a tool to extend and support human mentorship. But human mentorship is just frankly not available at scale to as many teachers. And so how do we use technology to connect them? So the AI mentor connects in the moment, but then by creating a mentor marketplace where like a teachers pay teachers, but for coaches and mentors that are vetted, mentors that have gone through training, that we make sure that we know who they are and that we're coaching and supporting teachers, then we can connect. There's a lot of great teachers who can coach and support other teachers. How do we connect those teachers in a way where their services and their skills are being utilized and they're actually supporting, and we're also working on building a social connection too, so that teachers can also connect with one another that way.
So are you building tools for the human mentors?
Yes, there's also platforms to train the human mentors so that they have training in what to, how to support those teachers. We have, our board is a lot of pretty great superintendents of schools throughout the country. And one of the things that when talking with them, they have expressed a need for, especially in these rural districts, is connecting even their homegrown talent, their homegrown mentors, with other teachers in their district. And so we're also working, that's the plan moving forward, that's the tomorrow, is how do we support them in connecting their mentors with their mentees.
Thank you all. This is actually something I can connect to a lot really personally. And I'm wondering if within your platform and technology, is there anything regional specific, right? Because different areas are dealing with different challenges.
yeah, so we've taken the top level challenges and really very narrowly trained the AI agents behind it. It's an agentic system behind it to answer those concerns. The other thing is that because we've started with one of our bigger pilots is running in Henry County, Kentucky. So it's a rural district and it's addressing a rural population. We're also, one of our board members is the principal of an inner city school that faces a lot of violence actually outside of Philadelphia. So we've also got the tools in there for that population. And then of course the big general things that we've been in the industry for a really long time that we hear all the time. So yes, there are some specific components in there, but there's also the wider range. And then there's also things that the teachers were never trained for, right? They were never trained to have difficult conversations with that parent that's always blaming you for something that their kid's doing in the classroom. They weren't trained in restorative justice normally. They weren't trained in how do I have a conversation with the student and understand where they're coming from a neurological perspective. So, yeah.
This is super interesting. I definitely see the need and wish I had something similar when I was in the classroom. I'm wondering how people use it and how it promotes greater collaboration and problem solving among teachers who are working together.
Right, so there's a couple of different things. So one thing that we know really well right now, even though AI hasn't been around for that long, is from the coaching space. And so what we know is that people prefer to have the hybrid. They were asked, do you want human coaches, an AI coach, or the hybrid? And what they're saying is they want the hybrid. They want the AI to serve in the middle, in between when they have sessions with it. You know, it's midnight, I can't sleep, or I'm sitting in my car actually don't want to get out of my car right now, I'm so stressed out. Those moments where the AI kicks in, and then we also have the human mentorship component right there, but also we're developing circles, so communities of practice where educators can.
All right, we will cut it there. Thank you. So many good things to say. Thank you, team. Hey, Bodhi. We've got one startup left. We still got the energy for this? Yeah. All right. You might subscribe to Disney Plus. You might have ESPN Plus, but do you have Cell Plus? Please welcome Damien Howard.
2 years ago, while sitting across a West Side Chicago high school principal, she put her hands up and told me, Damien, I no longer know what to do with all these behaviors. In fact, just last week, a kid tried to set another student's hair on fire. That wasn't just frustration that she was communicating, it was exhaustion. Schools are overwhelmed, counselors outnumbered 400 to 1. Teachers are trying to, let me kind of get these slides progressing, that'd be helpful. Counselors are outnumbered 400 to 1, and teachers are trying to manage trauma, conflict, and absenteeism, oftentimes with no support. In our neighborhoods, most impacted by poverty and violence, that stress shows up in classrooms. More absences, more suspensions, and too many kids dropping out altogether. I want you all to think back to when you were in school. That teacher, that coach who helped you to feel seen. Those people are who we refer to when we talk about mentors. Imagine every student being empowered by a village of caring mentors to come alongside them to meet them exactly where they need to be met. We had this village of caregivers in mind, you all, when we made Selvi. Selvi is an AI-enabled training platform that helps mentors build authentic relationships with kindergarten through 12th grade students. Selvi leverages student data and mentor notes to offer insights that are specific to the needs of each learner, helping mentors to show up prepared and confident to meet students exactly where they need to be met. Through Selvi, every student receives this personalized impact plan, and every mentor gets guided coaching, what to say, what to notice, how to respond. Meanwhile, schools and mentoring organizations can track progress on attendance, behavior, emotional growth, and do this all in one place. It's a first to market mentor support system that's not just built for school impact, but it's also built for community transformation. I think again about that West Side Chicago high school that I referenced earlier. At that high school, before we even had Selvi, we trained 14 mentors to support 14 students that were basically on their way to getting expelled from school. I'm thankfully here to tell you all that those students did not get expelled. They were able to persist in school, and this work literally saved their lives. That success is poised to spread with the launch of Selvi. Last year, with our first iteration of this tool, we had 3 successful paid pilots. Now with our improved MVP, we are actively onboarding 200 new students onto the platform, each supported through weekly mentoring and wraparound support. We're currently building proof of concept and also testimonials with our paid nonprofit partners, Together Chicago and the Obama Foundation. Q1 2026, we're going to sell directly into school districts at $15,000 per school. This is a $15 billion market opportunity, and no one is connecting the dots between mentor quality, student outcomes, and community level transformation. We're raising $25,000 today to fund a pilot that's going to support 200 young people from communities like Roseland, Little Village, and Garfield Park, each with trained mentors, individual plans, and measurable growth through Selvi. I'm Damien Howard, founder and CEO of Cell Plus. Our vision is simple and bold. Every student supported, every mentor empowered, every community made safer. Thank you.
So I'm wondering if you can tell us more about the mentors and why you've chosen schools as the place to reach the kids who you're targeting.
Yeah, so as I stated, I think that we have a very unique model whereby we are really intentional about this marriage between the community and the schools. So as a special education teacher myself, I have a unique passion for a lot of the projects that we heard today, and I firsthand felt the need for increased capacity of teachers in the schools. So really that's my truest answer and most immediate answer to your question. I felt the need to have more capacity to support my students, and I know all of us are trying to figure out how to grow that capacity. Our tool is answering for that.
Thank you for your pitch. This is really great. I have a two-part question. So one, are most of the interactions happening within the platform? And if so, if a student is already disengaged, how are you encouraging them to utilize the platform? And then secondly, how are you thinking about scaling your mentors? So as you continue to grow, how do you make sure you have enough matches?
Yeah, that's a powerful questions there. So I think a lot of the questions that we heard today are really reacting to the fact that we don't want technology to take the place of the human touch. So really, at no point in time are we wanting mentors to be on this tool when they're in front of students. It's to empower you with the resources that you need, that when it's time for you to show up in front of the students, you know what to do, what to say, what you're responding to, because of all of the notes from multiple caregivers, what we call mentor figures, are put in the system and empowering you to show up as your best self to support that kid. Now you have a second part to that question. How do we anticipate scaling? You heard of a couple of partnerships that we have. One of those that I named is the Obama Foundation. They have an initiative called My Brother's Keeper. Right now, here locally, some of the people in the room come to some of our convenings. There are over 200 mentoring organizations already plugged into some of these ecosystems that I'm connected to. And that's just in Chicago. There's over 50 of these sites. So anyway, I'm already connected to a lot of mentoring agencies and networks that are looking for a tool like this. This is going to be the tool that the backbone here in Chicago is going to be using to really not just go after school level change, but city level change.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the traction? How long have you been at it? And
that's a great question, because I know you saw that big old long thing there. So again, I come from special education, and for about the last decade, I've been manually matching mentors to schools to serve kids on the south and west side of Chicago. And again, those have been paid partnerships with nonprofit organizations. Selvi was launched, the MVP, this year, right? So we kind of tinkered using ChatGPT for 3 paid pilots last year, and we got around $30,000 for those pilots. And now in launching this MVP, like I said, we're onboarding 200 students, and we continue to be financed by these nonprofits. And just to kind of further talk about traction, going into Q1 of next year, it's going to be a sole focus on just going to K-12 schools, as you kind of saw there.
What goes into personalizing each of the plans?
What goes into
personalizing each of the plans?
Yeah, so it's 2 kind of components there. So one, we're looking at student data, and I heard one of the questions you asked earlier, how are we making sure that we're looking after like safety when we're thinking about that data. So we use the tier system. If you all can think red light, green light, yellow light, right? A green says the kid is cool, doing all right. Yellow, there's a need for some intervention. Red, very extreme need for intervention. So we put it in there, red, yellow, green for academics, for behavior, for attendance, but we're not stopping there. In our city, we're also looking at, are these kids engaged in violence on the community level? And in addition to that, we want to track these kids through the age of 24, so we also want to know when they're 18 plus and out of college, are they gainfully employed? It looks like that's my time, so before you get something to tell me to leave.
Well done, well done. We have seen all 5 companies that are pitching tonight. What do we think? The judges now have the very difficult task of deliberating and figuring out which one of these companies is going home with the $25K. So at this time, judges, we will ask you to take a step backstage and deliberate. While the judges head backstage, we're going to bring some chairs out here. We're going to have all the founders who pitched come back on the stage. And now, audience, it's time for you to ask your questions to these founders. While we're getting this set up, in the name of giving cheap plugs, I would like to let you all know, if you haven't guessed already, one of the many jobs I have is being a professional ring announcer. And tomorrow night at the Hammond Civic Center in Hammond, Indiana, I will be doing broadcasting for a new league called Armored MMA. If you're familiar with MMA, cage fighting, it is that, but armored. These people are wearing medieval armor. They are wielding weapons, and they are fighting each other. It is a combination of Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, all mixed into one, and it's super fun. And quite honestly, it's actually family friendly. Check it out at armoredmma.com. So they're in full gear, right? And it has to be historically accurate per the rules. You can't have a Viking helmet and a Renaissance chest plate. They have real weapons, but they're blunted. You can't make stabbing motions, but you can do everything else. Sometimes they drop the weapons and they fist fight. Yeah, so it's a vibe, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah. All right, enough about that. Let's ask our questions. So I'll kind of run around the room here. Who has a question they would like to ask? Yeah, we'll start over here. Do you want to use the mic or shout? Okay.
What does ABA stand for?
Applied behavior analysis.
Applied
Behavioral analysis. It's a, oh, you want me to explain?
It's a science-backed behavioral strategy. It's known as the best care for autism treatment. So we do therapy. We help them reach their developmental place where they should be. So where is communication, receptive skills, expressive skills, daily living skills, things like that. If they are below, we use science-backed articles and things that have been tested over and over to get them where they are now. So that's the type of training we do every day to get them where they are.
Oh, actually, I have another one. Why is autism on the rise? That's a good question.
No. We're thinking it's more so the awareness of it. So more people are being aware, more people see that there are answers. So instead of being locked indoors and going through it by yourself, more people are like, oh, there's someone that can help with this. Oh, my kid has this. Oh, my kid, who do you go to? And so the awareness of it is really growing, and people are saying that there's actually tools that help you. So they're speaking up more.
Right here. Back here.
Oh, sorry.
Hello, I'm Danny. Nice to meet you. I have a question for, is it Tenacity?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Great name, by the way. So one of the questions that I had was related to applicants applying for your platform. If they don't have the skills, are you connecting with free resources for them to then come back with a certification? Yeah. So then therefore show hey, I've actually been working on this.
Yeah, great question. It's twofold. So when students don't have the skills that we think are compatible to the platform, we send them to a couple of our partners who are focused on upskilling students. And so we built these partnerships that act as a pipeline to say, hey, you may not be ready right now. However, we know that they are training phenomenal freelancers and go down that path. Similarly, we also have a couple of certifications that we're going to roll out in 2026 that says, hey, for the students that are on the platform or those that desire to be on the platform, here's what we've learned from the founders that are using it as hey, if you get this, you likely get projects. So for example, Figma. Everyone loves Figma if you're a UI UX designer, or Google Analytics. And so we're training and teaching this to the students to say, it may be a good idea for you to get certified in these areas, and we're communicating that back to professors as well.
I love that. Sorry. Okay.
First, to the founders, great job. It is not easy to get up here and to pitch something, especially something that's so personal to you. So first, great job to all the founders. Question, for the first two, I understand, so my question is around stickiness, especially if you have an app. The first two I understand, because you have a daily lesson plan, you have to go to the app to get your lesson plan. If you're doing a project, you have to go back and check in with the founder and you have to track the project. But for the last three, how are you thinking about creating stickiness so that people don't go one time and say, oh, well, great, I got some, I feel like I got an answer to the question, or I got some temporary therapy or temporary relief. How do you keep people coming back to your app?
Well, as an educator, I think the thing that is going to keep people coming back is them getting quality answers to pain points, real pain points that they have. I think the group that went right before me did an amazing job of talking about the teacher burnout that's experienced in schools across our nation. So if, for instance, I'll talk specifically about my solution, is helping these teachers to experience less burnout. If they feel now that we have increased capacity because this tool is a tool that our system and school is leveraging to build my capacity and for me to feel supported in ways that I've never felt before, that is going to bring some serious stickiness. And then on the community side, right, oftentimes it's very difficult for these community organizations to find a way to get into the schools. So we're also helping to be a bridge builder in that way.
So with Bloom Academy and our social groups, as a mother with a kid on the spectrum, there is a different day, a different thing every day, every hour. So I think, just being a parent and, similar to the different stages that a neurotypical kid goes through, it's no rule book for them, so, and I'm not saying it's a rule book for us parents on the spectrum, but to have a resource like that is similar to going to the doctor, similar to getting those answers about what's going on with your child. So Myesha does an amazing job at even, she's my friend, and I'll call her and say, hey, Myla's doing this thing. We literally were just talking about how she goes through snacks like every 2 seconds. So she recognized the behavior, broke down the behavior, and told me different ways to address it. So just sickness being, just being a parent and trying to figure it out.
This is something that we think a lot about, and so it's a really great question, and I think there's a few things, and one is giving teachers real relief, and we know that when a child is dysregulated, it's very easy to co-dysregulate. And so first and foremost, right, how do we make sure that we're giving teachers the tools to not co-dysregulate so that they can regulate themselves in order to then support students? And so first off, it's making sure that there's real tools and resources. We're measuring our outcomes to see, we're measuring GAD-7 scores and burnout scores and things like that to actually see, does this help teachers? Do they find that it's really making a difference? First thinking is that if it is helping them and really making a difference, then they'll continue to use it. We also though want to create a real sense of community and belonging, and that's why these Bodhi circles and options and opportunities to be mentored and be a mentee, where we really create community, where we can really focus on the wellness, the heavy heart lift of teaching and lightening that load. So it's a great question and something we think a lot about.
My question's for Geni, was it? So I know you mentioned that the one thing that teachers like if they give you any feedback, the one thing is people just look at the pictures and they don't do the problems. So do you have any ways to track engagement and make sure that that students are actually kind of working through those lessons and kind of staying focused, even though you're also giving them kind of the pretty images to look at?
Oh yeah, the character tells them that you need to move on to the assignments. That's the idea. So yeah, so that little nudge usually helps most kids to move on, and then within the actual interactive assignment, we have effects and confetti that is personalized to wherever the interest is. So it reinforces them actually getting to the problems and stuff like that. So it's actually really fun, and the kids love it. So we're doing pretty well. So that's hopefully an answer to that.
Hello, my name is Garrett. I'm a middle school teacher here at Latin, and I'm also a lecturer at Northwestern University. First of all, just thank you for committing to helping education, because you could commit to a lot of other places, but deciding to do it for education, it means a lot. So thank you for being here tonight. So one of the things I noticed is that 4 out of 5 of the pitches tonight were about connecting people, which I found was really interesting, that technology is being used to connect people. And it made me wonder, why aren't these people being connected in the first place? And is it just a matter of marketing and just money to make that connection, or are we missing something else in our society?
Go, teacher. Well, I think personally, and I'll be brief, I think that it's becoming a little bit easier now to build a business case around connecting people to one another because of the rise of just technology back in the 2000s all the way to the acceleration of AI. And so it's now saying like, hey, hold on, we're losing the being connected to people. We're losing the young people going outside and riding bikes. And so for us as founders, I think that we're coming in at a great time where it's like, I don't have to convince you that you need less screen time and more person time. It's becoming more and more known. And so I think the rise of technology over the last 20-something years is really getting people to think back to say, all right, to what extent will we let this dictate our lives versus actually making the collaborations and the networks and the opinions matter in person. And that's what we're seeing particularly on our platform where students are like, I want FaceTime with the founders now because, you know, hybrid is great, but I can learn a lot more and I can go further if I can make those connections. So I think it's the technology.
I'll just say a short thing. So what I've seen as a BCBA in the autism community, like someone mentioned, the rise is like super high. There's only so many BCBAs, and right now for getting help in therapy, the wait list for, if you look at any therapy clinic, it's for out to 6 months to a year to even get a spot. And then even before that, you have to get a diagnosis. But they have already started noticing signs when they were 2. But they have this long wait list. So the tool we're trying to build gives them help immediately. So if their kid is dealing with tantrums or not eating or something, they can go into here to our platform and search up how can I help with eating or something. They get that immediately. So we are helping meet the need, but it's very, very slow. And so with technology, it's helping reach more people quicker and get them the help so they won't suffer alone.
Yes, thank you for that question. So for us, I don't know if you guys heard it, but so for educators, and you'll know this, right, there's a huge educator shortage at the moment because it is such a tough job. And then teachers are most likely to quit in those first 5 years. But if they have a mentor, they're twice as likely to stay. So, but 44% of them are quitting. So it's kind of mirrors a lot of these other answers here, which is that there aren't enough, essentially. And especially in rural areas or harder to reach areas, you've got these teacher induction programs in ritzier areas, just not in the harder to reach populations.
I have a question for Sal. Did I get it right? Okay, cool. Really good initiative. I think that's the exact use case AI should do to expand the capacity in the needed area. Can you elaborate a little bit more on, based on your experience, you mentioned you've been tingler with the ChatGPT to serve your pilot, but what exactly is the user experience as far as the mentor goes?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the things that we're trying to solve for is this disconnect between social and emotional learning and any of the type of developmental work that mentors do with young people and connect it to actual data. Because oftentimes when we're doing that type of developmental work, it could be like, okay, soft skill development seems like it could be a good thing, but we don't actually know if this has a correlation with academic outputs. And we're even looking at, are our kids being more prone to staying safe on a community level from violence? So I think one of the things that we're intentionally trying to solve for is no longer can you make an excuse that there's not that correlation that when mentors show up that kids are better, because we're tracking that data on the platform. So that's the one thing I'll say. Repeat it again. I want to make sure I'm holistically hitting the question.
Right. What exactly is the user experience?
Okay. Yeah. So a mentor goes into the platform, and again, that's one thing I just wanted to be very clear. They have that dashboard that's letting them know if they're winning or not. And as that user goes in, we have so many tools that's there to coach them, like for instance, the chatbot. This chatbot is specific to that student, right? That chatbot is trained specifically on Damien. Damien's academic.
outputs Damien's notes from all of these different mentor figures, and they can ask that chatbot any questions, including social and emotional learning lessons, like very tailor-made lessons that are not just static lessons for everybody, but something specific for this student and or this group of students based on what we know about them. So the dashboard, it has the chatbot, and it has just, again, a myriad of different training tools that's going to help guide them through how do you best support this kid. One of those tools I'll say is what we call, my background is special education, so instead of an IEP, we have an ISELP, an individualized SEL plan. So based on all this data that we know about the kid, the notes that's coming into the system, every kid gets an individualized plan based on how do we do responsive justice practices for this kid. Again, what is the best way to develop their social and emotional learning needs based on what they're going through. So again, it's a training platform to support mentors, and implicit in that training platform are some of the tools I gave you. I can talk about asynchronous training that's on there and other things, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of a preview as far as what the tool does.
So the question for Tenacity. I'm a teacher at a high school, about 90% tuition subsidized, average family income about $40,000. Many of my students have gone on to college, and some have not been able to go through all the way, taken a huge debt, and then some who are a little bit further along, I think the problem was mentioned here, having trouble finding a job, right? Have you thought about bringing your model to high schools?
Yeah, so I get this question often, and the answer is yes. But we're so early, and so we wanted to prove out it in our first couple of years to see, like, hey, with college students, can we make this work? But there is a huge need, and you're probably the fifth person this week that says, hey, high schoolers can do this, and they are also equally hungry. And so we're looking at that on our roadmap for 2026.
Hi, yes, my question is for Bloom. I know you mentioned that, well, it sounds, from what I gather, is that your platform is geared towards the parents. And you partner with libraries to bring in social groups for parents and teaching them how to deal with their kids. Is there any plan on your platform in the future to, and you also mentioned that the wait list is so long to get therapy for these children? Do you have any plan in your program to implement these into maybe daycares or training? Because the teachers are not trained to deal with, children on a spectrum. And I know somebody else's presentation said there's one counselor for every 400. So is there any platform or any plan to get training for teachers who's dealing with this?
Yeah, so the amazing thing about Myesha is that she actually started a business called My Agape, and she goes into daycares and teaches ABA principles. So she's already kind of started that headway of implementing them into classrooms and implementing them into daycares. So we do plan to expand, and we're specifically targeting Chicago Public Libraries, kind of spreading the word that way. However, Myesha is also over a large ABA center. So we're going to be going into her ABA centers and using our platform to train. So I'll
elaborate more. So with the trainings, so right now I am able to use this training. So I get feedback directly from, so I create the programs and train with these programs. We just use PowerPoints right now, and we do competency checks. So before and afterwards to see if you actually attained the skill, and also we measure progress as you're doing it, and we take data. They have to take data as they're doing certain things. So it would give us real-time feedback on how they are responding to it, and if the actual child is responding to it. Is their progress increasing, or is their progress declining? And as a behavior analyst, we make those changes immediately. And this also goes into the platform as well. The data will also show, like, hey, keep practicing this thing, or ask more about
this. First of all, loved all of your presentations. I have a question specifically for the Tenacity. So if you could cover how you incentivize the startup leaders who are looking to hire to use your specific platform in comparison to, for example, visiting universities to build like the personal connections.
Yeah, so great question. It's easier for us to communicate to companies. One, because students on our platform are all in one space versus you having to build those individual relationships at each school, with each career center, and typically with each professor to figure out which are the right ones. Whereas when you come to Tenacity, you know a couple of things about us. One, we're relentless about our hospitality and making sure that your vision is executed well, and so the quality is there. Two, you understand that we're focused on making sure that those top students are actually top students. Because a lot of times, myself included, I was one of the students that was like, I can do it all, just hire me and watch me work. And then you hired me and the work wasn't working. And so we're very serious about making sure that those students have those skills. And so it's a selling point to companies to say, hey, you may not be ready to hire them full-time just yet. However, give them a project, 6 weeks. Does that work out? Great. Make it a monthly thing. Oh, that works out great? Okay, then maybe they should be on your team as your first marketing hire or your first tech developer. And so it allows them to kind of test and sequence and make sure that they're making the right decision for somebody who's ultimately building a baby with them.
Thank you again. The presentations were fantastic. Did you have a question? That's fine. This is a great room. How can we support you with some immediate next steps for your business outside of this amazing non-dilutive funding that someone will receive today? And where can we follow you on social, etc.?
Yeah, I'll go quickly. So for me, it is connecting me to amazing students and amazing founders and small businesses that need help. So marketing, technology, sales, is really where we have our sweet spot in terms of projects. And so if you have students that are interested in that, please send them my way, Tenacity AI on all socials.
I think the best way to find me is on LinkedIn, Damien Howard. And as far as help that we are looking for right now, as I stated at the top of next year, y'all, we're about to go crazy to these schools. SaaS model, $15K per school. And as I continue to think about it, I spent a lot of time this summer in the market, and we really could use folks who've done that already and could give us some expertise, some expert level guidance on how to best go to market and sell to these schools that we know need our products. But yeah, we haven't had the best success as of yet being able to kind of plow through those first customers, particularly selling to schools. We've done great with nonprofit organizations, but we're looking to make that shift at the beginning of next year.
So our socials are on Instagram, Bloom with us Shy, so BLOOM with us Shy. We have a website, bloomclubs.org. And it's just about getting the word out, especially about our social groups. I think that everyone or most people here know someone with autism or a child with autism. We're planning on growing, doing more social groups. Right now, our current social groups is Music Buds. So we're actually inviting trained musicians to come and teach music to kids on the spectrum. So we'll have an arts and crafts one next. We're planning on doing one for young adults to do job training and job placements for people with autism. So just getting the word out about Bloom, following us.
And we need help to build this element. So we need someone who is skilled in developing all these trainings. We have over 150 trainers that need to be on this platform. So someone with those skills to help us get them in there. And also we want live video of the trainings that we do so that they can see themselves in the training. So we need someone who can connect us to those people.
The primarily just kind of help that I would need is if there's any parents who are interested in trying out Geni, I'd love to put you on the wait list. And then we're going to release that probably within the next month. So if you want to use it, it'd be fantastic. And I can probably actually connect you to someone who can help you guys build that.
Okay, so you can find us on Instagram or LinkedIn. Just Hey Bodhi. Bodhi is BODHI, like the Bodhi tree that the Buddha sat underneath to achieve enlightenment. And I would say that what we would love is if you have a teacher in your life, or if you are a teacher, or somebody that is close to you that you think would benefit from Hey Bodhi, let us know. Our pilots have kicked off, so we are ready to, get users on it.
No, just get some more teachers.
Yeah.
I always I always chuckle when people share their social medias because they always start with "you can find me," and in my head I can't not sing the first words of Country Grammar. You can find me. You can sing it. Anyways, are we ready? Okay. The judges have deliberated. They have discussed. They have determined. It is time now to announce who the winner is of the $25K bag here at TechRise EdTech in partnership with the EdTech Institute of Chicago and brought to you by PNC Bank. Friends, are we ready to find out who wins? I said, are we ready to find out who wins? The winner of TechRise 2025 EdTech Night is Cell Plus! Now, it wouldn't be an award without a quick post-game interview. You had a great time on stage here. Tell us, how do you feel right now?
With all of those issues I was having with the slides developing, I never thought that I was like, oh my gosh, that was gonna mess me all the way up. I'm just excited, elated, and I just thank God for the opportunity.
Talk us through, you started, your slides weren't working, you weren't using, what was going through your head in that moment?
Well, see, everybody who asked me how I was ahead of time, I told them I'm chill. So, if you're going to be somebody who does work in the social and emotional space, like, you got to take your own stuff to heart, right? So, because I started chill, I was able to kind of navigate that space pretty well.
Amazing, amazing. What advice do you have for future founders who might want to join on the TechRise stage?
Man, I oftentimes think about just this journey, and really one of the key factors is just having a long enough runway to keep going, right? So anybody, even like I got people, like my people in here right now, man, I feel real good right now. Like, let's keep going, let's keep pressing. And it's times like this that give that affirmation and that validation that you're on the right track. So that's what I say, keep going.
One more question. How are you going to celebrate?
Oh, shoot. Hold on. First, I'm going to call my wifey, Pooh, you understand? And I'm going to be like, baby, hey, we did it. You understand? So that's step one. I need to find my team wherever they are and just let them know what's up. Hopefully, part of my celebration is you all giving me access to some of these pictures so I can put this on my socials. Do you hear me? And yeah, I'm a chill, simple dude, bro. That's it.
Damien Howard, Cell Plus, everybody! Congratulations! And congrats to all our founders who pitched here tonight. You all did great. You all are going to get a lot of great connections out of this. Quick heads up for everybody who's heading out. The next two Tech Rises to join us to close out the season. Veterans Day, November 11th, will be a military veteran active service founder competition. And then December 3rd, which happens to be my birthday, will be the North Lawndale competition to close out season 5. There are takeout boxes near the catering table, so please take some food on the way out. Founders will get a couple photos on stage here before you all head out. Thank you, everybody, on behalf of TechRise P33 Chicago, and thank you to the Latin School of Chicago for hosting us tonight.
Oh, thank you for working on this. Oh, thank you. Uh-oh.